And welcome to an all-new Marvelcast, Explosion Network's hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Honey Badger and Jonathan the Unstoppable. My name is actually Hobley, your Omega level host, and joining me today is Ultimate Kieran Marchant.
Hello, it's me, here to introduce my illegitimate child clone thing.
What? That's crazy. What up, Drake? Also joining us, the astonishing Dylan Blight.
Shout out to Daphne Keane. At the time of recording, she's my fave.
Hope nothing happens to her in any show we're watching.
Fucking shout outs.
All right, yes. So today we're talking about. We've come to the end of our Mutant Rewatch because we're watching Logan, the last. Well, I guess it was technically the second last in chronological order. One of these. Well, it was pretty close to. I think it was actually somewhere in the middle.
No, the fact that there is a model from this in the movie, one of the movies we've just watched, says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't watched Legion yet, though.
Yeah, that's true. We have watched Legion. We have watched Gifted. You know, there's still stuff to watch if we wanted to.
Okay.
But yes, we're here at the end of our MCU rewatch. So yeah, let's get into it. Please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about plot themes in any of the movies. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. With that said, let's jump into a discussion of Logan.
We got ourselves an X-Men fan. Maybe a quarter of it happened, and not like this. In the real world, people die.
Logan.
I don't want to talk about it.
Logan.
Just stop.
Be careful. I need the girl.
What girl?
Go get her. No. No. No.
And we're down,
She's like you. Very much like you.
I am not whatever it is you think I am.
She needs our help.
Someone will come along.
Someone has come along.
Released March 3rd, 2017. Directed by James Mangold. Screenplay by Scott Frank, James Mangold, and Michael Green. Story by James Mangold. Based on Wolverine by Roy Thomas, Lane Wein, John Romita Sr. Starring Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Richard E. Grant, Boyd Holbrook, Stephen Merchant, and Daphne Keane. In the near future, a weary Logan cares for an ailing Professor X at a remote outpost on the Mexican border. His plan to hide from the outside world gets upended when he meets a young mutant who is very much like him. Logan must now protect the girl and battle the dark forces that want to capture her. Kieran, what are your thoughts on Logan?
I think it just shows how good these can be when you have a mostly decent script and like an actual good director behind it that is getting to shoot how they want to shoot, is not having too much kind of overbearingness on the product itself. It feels like it's funny. Like, this doesn't feel like for a lot of it doesn't feel like a AAA blockbuster movie. Like, it feels like it is more like an independent or a smaller studio has got their hands on the Wolverine product and is able to put it through. I think it works really well. I think this is Hugh Jackman's best performance as Logan, and I think it's funny that I'm glad for this rewatch that my last performance of Professor X is a Patrick Stewart performance that kind of washes the bad taste out of my mouth of what we just witnessed in Dark Phoenix and how much that kind of ruined my passion and love for McAvoy's Xavier. Like, I think there is a lot of humanity throughout this movie, which is really funny when you consider it's about mutants. Like the more human aspects of this movie play out really well. It's shot beautifully. The only thing I'm not sketchy on, but like I kind of don't need it to be in this movie is the whole CGI de-aged
X-24.
X-24. Like I don't really need that in this movie because I don't think it's that great. Like I think something else could have been done instead. But as a whole, like it's a wonderful movie, and it's for by and large, it is like the best thing that's ever been done with the Logan IP as well as kind of X-Men as a whole.
All right, Dylan, what do you think of Logan?
Shit.
Cool. Let's move
Checks
on.
out. Checks out.
Checks out.
Checks out for a Dylan opinion.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic. I love it. It's you know, it's the great western of the comic book movies. It's the character piece Hugh Jackman never got to make. It's the character piece Patrick Stewart never got to make. It's the ultra violent one he never got to make. It just ticks all the boxes, and it just does it all in a way that it actually makes sense. It's not like, hey, we set out to make the R-rated Logan Wolverine movie. Finally, it's like we did it because it works here and it makes all sense, and it's not just for jokes. As in, like a lot of times I'm like Deadpool just. To me, you know, like the humor, the swearing, the violence, it definitely plays to that crowd off. Oh, they're swearing and there's, you know, chop his fucking leg off. Whereas all the violence and like swearing and this is just like human. Like this is just how this is how like I swear, but he swears because it's just dialogue, right? It doesn't feel trivial. And the same for the violence. I 100% agree though. The only downside to this movie and the only terrible choice that was made was X-24. I just feel like maybe that was a studio mandate or something, because I just don't know how the hell that was written in. Like there's no point for that character. You have Boyd Holbrook sitting over here. It's like, I don't know, soup him up, get another character, give me someone that like to actually, you know, not care about but hate properly. Whereas because I'm just like, I don't give a shit about this. Like it doesn't work at all. It doesn't ruin the movie for me, far from it. Like I've watched this movie like, you know, a few times. I've watched, you know, and I've got the noir cut as well. Like I got the Blu-ray for that, so I've watched it in black and white. I've watched it in color. I've watched it upside down. You know, I've watched it in the cinema. I've watched it at home. I've watched it everywhere. It's a great movie. Doesn't ruin it, but still, that is the one part that stands out. And when you're going to ask me to pick my favorite scene or marvelous moment later, it's kind of really hard because there's just so many. So, also shout outs to Steve Merchant.
Sadly,
Sorry,
we
Merchant.
don't. Yeah.
We don't
Is it funny? Isn't it funny? My brain autocorrected Merchant.
That's
to
very
Merchant,
nice, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, I
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah,
that
yeah.
a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. It's fantastic. You know, a really great character study of, you know, Wolverine. I think, you know, obviously this came after like the hit comic Old Man Logan, which was clearly an inspiration for this. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, I think last week we talked about, you know, New Mutants, how, or at least I talked about how it felt very small scale, and like there's very few characters and that kind of stuff in anything. This also has very few characters, or at least, you know, characters that we know and care about, and yet it, you know, every scene is impactful and important and like builds, you know, on itself into this bigger world. Yeah, really interesting. Obviously, you know, taking a lot of things from the comics, introducing a daughter or clone daughter, I guess. I think the most interesting thing is they introduced the idea that mutants have just disappeared or stopped being born, which is kind of explained in like a throwaway line towards the end, but, you know, they didn't really need to explain it. It could have just been, this was just a blip in humanity, the evolution process. Evolution decided we're not ready for mutants. But yeah, I thought it was really fantastically shot. You know, it doesn't feel like an X-Men movie in any way, which, you know, probably why it was so well received. I think, you know, it was even getting Oscar buzz from memory, but unfortunately missed out that year for whatever reasons. Yeah, I think Ciaran made a very good point. That, you know, it was really cool to see. I think this is probably Patrick Stewart's best performance as Charles Xavier. You know, he gets a lot more to do. He has a lot of interesting range, and he also takes full effect of the R rating. You know, you get to swear and tell Wolverine
Just
to fuck
hearing
off.
the first time you hear Patrick Stewart just be like, "Fuck off!"
Like,
it's
you
like-
want to blow on the pills to make them work? Fuck off, Wolverine.
yeah.
Like I feel like it's almost there's almost a sense of like Sir Patrick Stewart just does not give a fuck. Like it was like I feel like in his performances as Professor X throughout all the other movies, he is, I don't want to say towing the company line, but he's doing exactly what is required of him and not much more else. And Sir Patrick Stewart is a far better actor than what that Xavier has needed in the past. So to see him, it was almost like the shackles have been taken off him as an actor, that he had more freedom to play the role. He had more to do, the more to sink his teeth into. And it shows off and it plays well, and it makes it, even more kind of gut wrenching when it is his final scene, and he gets a proper final scene. He's not like the dumb shit stuff we've seen in X3. Like this is a beautiful send off for Sir Patrick Stewart, and as Xavier, and I hope he kind of never does the role ever again.
I mean, he already did the role again
Shut up.
in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of
I
Madness.
was
Fuck.
like,
I didn't think about that.
you remember he came back,
Yeah.
yeah. And for all you know, he may show up again in. I wouldn't put it
In
past
Secret
him,
Wars,
in
yeah.
Deadpool.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, not Secret Wars, Deadpool.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
What I'm
Could show up in the next
Yeah.
movie. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just find his the idea, like Stephen Merchant says, like the greatest mind in the world gets a terrible mental illness, and like those seizure scenes, fucking hard to watch.
Hmm.
I guess the first one is not so bad because obviously it's just Caliban and Wolverine in the middle of nowhere. But that casino scene and like everybody in the casino is, I mean, it's a little bit weird. Like everybody's just kind of held in place. I guess he's just doing that freeze effect that we saw in all the other movies, like on purpose, I guess. But not be able to stop people's consciousnesses from realizing they're being frozen, which is kind of messed up. But yeah, I thought it's really interesting where they kind of litter in bits and pieces of like how they got to this point. And obviously there was an event at Westchester 12 months ago. They kind of fucked everything up, killed a bunch of X-Men, and they've gone into hiding since. So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, how do we feel about Wolverine and how he's set up at this movie? He opens up. First time we see him, he's in the back of a limo that he's driving around, and struggles to take out a bunch of goons.
I think it's a hard watch for a lot of it, because yes, Wolverine's gone through hardship and he's gone through it, but it's always been comic booky. It's always been kind of something he could fight against or work through and just be stubborn against. In this, it's very much like a somebody being given the terminal cancer diagnosis and just be like, this is just time's coming to an end. There's not much you can do here. There's not much you can stop it. Like, and I forever love the adamantium is just fucking killing him.
I also love that they don't like outright just say it. Like,
yeah, no,
it's constantly implied, but because
Yeah.
the way you said it so confidently, I'm like, oh, they must have like said it at some point. That's what's killing him. But no.
Yeah, no. It's, and I guess that's because I've read the comic books these are based off, and I think it's said a little bit more obviously in those. That it is like his healing factor is just kind of packing in, and it just can't fight off the poisoning from the adamantium. And I fucking love it. I adore that being his way out. Like it's in many ways it's like fitting for this character to go out to something that he just can't fight against. Because if it was anything else, like I think Wolverine as a character would lose his luster if he was going down to an enemy that he could physically fight against or go up against. Like it is just something that's been done to him that he's just having to. Except I know. It'd be cool.
He dies to like a younger, fitter version of himself.
Yeah, but like in the thing is, what's different though is like it's just like in that segment, he has already made the decision of fuck it, I'm probably going to die here. that there is nothing. I know I'm running into this not being able to heal as well as I can, but I'm still going to fight the same way. And like, he's blooded up, he's got gunshot wounds, he is visibly messed up throughout that entire set piece. And then even just to die at the end of it, you're like, he went out on his he went out, but he went out knowing that he was going to die either way. So it was like, either go out on your own terms or go out slowly to this adamantium poisoning. And that's, I think that's very fitting for Wolverine.
Yep. Yeah, how do we feel about Daphne Keane as little Laura?
She's great. Kicks ass.
She does kick ass.
I love that part where you first see her walk up the dude's head. It's great.
Do you think
10.
we'll ever get to see her play this role again, and not in like just a cameo in Wolverine and Logan? Like, no, you don't think we'll ever get this? No, okay.
No,
that's fine.
I think it's fine, but no.
No, obviously.
I was going to say, shit, that conversation ended. All right.
No, obviously,
I was like, no.
No, I think her performance is really good. A lot of the stunt choreography was fantastic. I believe they also had like an 11-year-old stunt double, for what I read on Wikipedia. So I don't know. Yeah, it's like, I guess you can't get like a grown adult to play an 11-year-old. I guess you just have to work around that. But yeah, the way that she fights is different to Wolverine. How Wolverine kind of fights, I guess, a little bit more agile and taking advantage of her short stature. And also the foot claw, which was very fucked up as well.
I love that when someone making it was like, we gotta make it better than Wolverine. Put claws in them fucking feet.
Which to me is like very, yeah.
How do we feel about the bad guys in this movie? Obviously, we got Boyd Holbrook as like the lead bad guy, which is crazy because I completely forgot he was in this movie. I feel like he had a bit of a career resurgence with obviously he was in Sandman, the TV series, and then he got Dial of Destiny after that.
Well, I remember, because you haven't watched it, when this was after Narcos.
Yeah.
And he was 2 seasons of that, him and Pedro Pascal. So like they're when I see Boyd Holbrook and I think of Narcos.
No, that makes sense. But yeah, I thought it was really good here, especially when he first meets Logan in that cab. It's like, I'm a fan, by the way. I'm not here for you. The Wolverine.
The Wolverine.
Wolverine, cool. Richard E. Grant doesn't get a lot to do, but obviously, he's cool.
He's fine, but yeah,
his presence.
Fuck all to do.
And the rest are just fodder.
I don't think, and this is the thing. I don't think this story doesn't need an iconic bad guy in it. It just needs bad people, and that's why it's like it doesn't need X-24. Like it just could have just a surmounting pressure and kind of force that Wolverine is up against, and that's enough for this movie.
Okay, so why do you think they did X-24? Is it just to tie it back into young Logan? I know all these movies they love to do alternate versions of themselves that they have to fight at the end.
I think this was the time period where
is it just for the fucked up imagery of Wolverine stabbing Patrick Stewart?
No, because I think at this time the de-aging technology was going nuts. Like this was like Hollywood's big thing at the time for any of their blockbusters, because this was roughly Rogue One, where they just done Grand Moff Tarkin.
And post Winter Soldier, I guess.
Winter Soldier, and at some point around here is Captain Marvel, where they do young Samuel Jackson for the whole movie. Yeah. Like I feel like they were just.
That's a couple years later.
Yeah, like they were around this period of time. They were like big on, we could de-age the shit out of you, Hugh Jackman, so we could do the X-24 storyline. Yeah, it's not good. It's not needed. It's once again Hollywood studio being like, hey, we need a big, bad, cool villain or something. We need to do something big for the villain. And it's like, no, you don't have to. Stop.
It's so funny because the movie didn't need the villain. It's like Cancer's the villain. I don't know, like
Damn straight it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird one. Like, it definitely was like, oh yeah, to be honest, I completely forgot that was a thing that happens in this movie. So I was like, ugh, this taints it a little bit, but it's all right. I guess it pays off that adamantium bullet he's been carrying around forever. Although where are they getting all this extra adamantium from? They put in 2.
The thing is, right? If Wolverine, I think Wolverine, because right, say if Wolverine somehow, because adamantium can break adamantium, if Wolverine broke a claw, would the claw regrow with adamantium on it?
No.
No?
It'd just be bone again.
Right, okay. Because technically, if it did, Wolverine would just be an adamantium farm. And he could just farm himself for it and melt it down and make the bullet. I don't know. Also, at the same time, I'm guessing at this point in Logan's life, there have been a number of people that have attempted to kill him with adamantium.
Probably.
I mean, he got shot in the head in
the first one.
Yeah, in the first one. So.
First Wolverine movie. Yeah, okay. Ciaran, what's the most marvelous moment of the movie?
I think it is the ending sequence for me. I think it is, talking about it earlier, it is Logan making the choice of I need to do this to save these kids, and I know I'm probably going to die, but I'm dying my way. I'm going in at full speed ahead, and yes, he's fucking hocked up on the fucking go-go juice, the adrenaline juice, but like it's still a great scene, and you sit there watching, being like, and at the time we very much thought we're sat here watching Hugh Jackman's last stand as Wolverine, and that there's a good chance we never see him as Wolverine.
How good would that have been?
Yeah,
I guess we'll find out next week. Before I ask Dylan, what do you guys think of the Wolverine Laura relationship? Because I feel like maybe needed a little bit more.
What do you mean? Because like the whole point is he doesn't really want it.
I think he doesn't want her at any point. So why does he go save her other than it's the right thing to do?
I think he's reluctant to let her in, but also I think it's both characters going both ways. They are a mirror of each other in terms of just not wanting a bar of each other. And I think they're both reluctant in the situation, but towards the end of it, they're reluctantly accepting what's going on. They accept their relationship. They're not happy about it. Wolverine is never going to be the character that's going to be like, hug and a kiss on the forehead and you did good, kid.
I'm pretty sure he did that to Rogue.
Yeah, did he? Yeah, but that's a whole other thing where he shouldn't have done that to Rogue, and Rogue.
He should have just stabbed her at the start, and then we would have been fine.
Exactly.
All right, Dylan, what's the most marvelous moment of the movie?
The casino sequence, like, just fantastic from start to finish. Like, not even like I think also just from a filming standpoint, I just think the way it's all put together is, I don't know how I don't fully understand it, but there's a lot of cool tricks happening here to make everything work in that whole sequence, I think, start to finish. And then just him slowly knifing those dudes.
It was stuck in place.
Yeah, and then Patrick Stewart, obviously, I think in particular this one where he's straight away just the sorry he gives, the delivery of it, all that sort of stuff. I think that's sort of the highlight for me. That's the whole sequence.
That's good. In that, there's some bloody shots of Wolverine's claws going in heads that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
They definitely are the R rating in that sequence. For me, I mean, I guess it's the opening, the escape from Mexico sequence. All the goons are there, and we get to see X-23 cut loose for the first time.
Cut ham.
Go ham. Fuck everybody up. And then, they've got the classic limo chase. Classic. Including
the
a scene
train.
where he tries to go through a fence. It doesn't work. And one thing, small detail I love is he reverses back and he's like carrying through that barbed wire fence and he just picks off a bunch of motorcyclists and they get stuck in the fence. And then they get smashed into a wall. Good times. Ciaran. Ciaran, here's a mutant of the movie.
For me, it's a little out of left wing, but I adore him as an actor and everything he's in. But Stephen Merchant as Caliban, I think it's so funny that he's A, in this role, but B, that kind of, unless you understand X-Men and you know a little bit about Caliban, he's not really explained the entire fucking time. In this
No, he's
movie.
the guy from Apocalypse, right?
He's a guy. He's in Apocalypse. Yep, that is the official timeline of it. Is that he's in Apocalypse and he's the one that, and like at the time he used to sense X-Men and sense mutants. But I love Stephen Merchant's performance in this. I think he's great. I think he adds a different layer, a different texture to the Logan Xavier kind of dynamic in the three of them. But then also he does the seriousness very well of when he's being tortured and his other aspects throughout this movie. I adore Stephen Merchant.
Like when he's calling Wolverine out on all this shit.
Yeah.
Starting like, can't even read this right. It's ibuprofen. Dylan, who's in the movie?
I'm not going to go left field. It's Wolverine. His best performance, best character arc, some of his best action scenes. Nothing.
I will say X-23, just, for energy, fucked up, breaking the rules, stealing stuff, just going to the gas station, opening up the Pringles, like we all dream we could. Just start
breaking the law,
breaking the law, and getting very upset when the friggin' rocking horse thing does not work anymore.
Yeah, stab it.
We all understand. Anything else you guys want to discuss about Logan?
It's a good movie.
Great.
It's great.
Was it
Great
fucked up
music.
that all these children just murdered Boyd Holbrook at the end of the movie?
No.
No.
It's well deserved.
Good Johnny Cash song.
Hurt is perfect for this song, so yes.
Which is a cover, by the way.
Is it actually?
Yeah,
It's a 9 Inch Nails song.
It's a 9 Inch Nails song.
That makes okay. Yep.
And Trent Reznor, when Johnny Cash did the cover, was literally like, "Fucking, it's your song now." Like you did it
Smart
so
man.
much better. Yeah.
All right. Let us know what you thought of Logan by going to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter or jump to Discord at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. Anyone can leave 5 stars. Just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode and this run of Mutant Rewatch and thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/supports. Alright, we're here at the end. So make sure you watch Deadpool and Wolverine. And join us next time for another All New Marvelcast.